Hello there, I'm here with a review of the anime Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody, which is on Crunchyroll, and I forget to mention these in the reviews, but I believe it is also on Funimation dubbed. I always forget that those exist, even though I watch them from time to time. But I watched it on Crunchyroll, and the final episode just came out today, a few hours ago, or maybe not even that long ago at the time of this recording. And I have watched this series. And if you don't know what Death March is, it is an isekai show, which means it is about a person from our world basically being sent to another fantasy world. Usually a lot of them have to do with, or they have video game tropes to them. And Death March is no stranger to any of that. In this case, it revolves around a programmer, I believe, who was designing this MMO, and then he gets sucked into the world. And I believe in the beginning he thinks he's dreaming, and then he just stops. He doesn't even care anymore. He doesn't want to wake up, or doesn't really think about waking up, or why he's here. Or after a lot of time passes, that maybe he should think about getting out of it or any of that. And he runs into many girls and builds a fairly impressive harem and goes on adventures. And when he first enters the world, he is powerless. He's a low level nothing. But in this MMO he was designing, there was this, or I can't remember if they were putting this in there or it was in concept, where you can choose to go at the game at a regular pace, or you can use these 5 very powerful one-use scrolls that just like bring down this incredible meteor shower that destroy everything in a certain path. And he has those in his inventory. He uses them all at when a like giant lizard army or something is coming after him, kills all of them, gains an incredible amount of XP, and becomes a god essentially. And he is incredibly OP after that. And it just follows him as he's going about his business and doing this and that, and never struggling for anything really. And you have your fan servicey moments. The last episode ends with a few of them that are just dumb. The really weird one is at the very end when the 2 little girls are licking this sweet juice off his fingers. Okay, whatever. That's not weird or creepy at all, but it's kind of and the kind of shtick of Death March really is that it's in this MMO and it constantly shows you all the menus. He's accessing the in-game menus, and you're seeing every time he gets a new skill in the screen. And at first I was like, okay, this is kind of neat, a little bit different to just get all of this information. But I'm assuming at some point they're probably going to, stop it and make it so that, like, okay, we know you get the idea, viewer. We're not going to keep throwing all this information all over the screen. But it never stops. And for me, that got incredibly annoying and just overwhelming, because there's always all this information on the screen. And I know you don't have to look at it, but my eye just ends up getting drawn to things when they're popping up on the screen. I'm drawn to see, oh, he got this skill, and now he's got this skill. And it was also frustrating because he gets skills and abilities so easily. He doesn't have to do anything. He just, in the last episode, there's a point where he's lying to Arisa, who is a really creepy little girl who also, I guess, is from the real world or something. She knows more about the thing and that it's a game world or whatever. They never really explore that all that much, really. But he's in this weird predicament with this busty robot android, I don't know, and she's taking off her clothes on top of him, and it's nothing weird. She just needs to be calibrated or whatever, and she needs you to touch over her heart and put your mana through her or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But he says, yeah, there's nothing nefarious going on, and you see in the upper right-hand corner, he got the skill poker face. Did he really do anything to get it? No, he just lied, and because he's OP, he doesn't have to like work at it or do anything. It just, anytime he does something, he automatically gets that as a skill. He becomes skilled in that. And if he sees someone doing something, oh, that looks like it's useful. I got it. Okay. And it's annoying because it just makes him so ridiculously OP. I feel like I can't think of a moment where he really struggled. And I think even Saitama in One Punch Man has more of a hard time near the end of the first season, than Sato ever has in all of Death March. So it's frustrating when you're watching a series to see the main character just never have any kind of struggle or difficulty. It's just like, oh, it's always a breeze, just getting all these new skills all the time. But the thing that hurts Death March the most is that Sato, the main character, is so generic and bland and has absolutely no personality. I don't care about him at all. And that is kind of the way I feel about the show as a whole. It is incredibly bland and generic and also very inoffensive. You know, it has its tropes and things you expect from the subgenre of isekai. But it's just completely forgettable because nothing really big happens. It ends in an incredibly anticlimactic way, and also ends in a way that if it never gets another season, people who were fans of this series will be very upset. Because it ends in a way that nothing is wrapped up, and it's just like, okay, sure, we'll be back. Will it? I don't know. I'm not sure how it's done, but if you, it's a weird thing because I think it is so incredibly inoffensive that if you are a fan of isekai shows, you'll probably enjoy it. Will it be something you remember in a few seasons down the road? Like, come this fall, will you still remember it? Probably not. I don't know. And I just want to put this out there. I am a fan of isekai shows. I like a lot of them. But there are so many of them that they need to stand out, or they need to be well written, or have good characters and interesting characters. Not all of them do. And also, even artistically, it is a very, very middle of the road show. And in a way, that makes it easy to consume and easy to watch. But also that means, like I said, it'll be very forgettable. And it doesn't stand out. So I feel like a lot of people will watch it and think, that was fine, and never think about it again. Whereas something that is more polarizing will be more memorable for everyone as either something they really didn't like or something they really love. And I think that is a better thing to shoot for with any kind of series. It's better to be loved and hated than just kind of meh, than get a reaction of meh from the majority of people. So yeah, it's weird that I stuck with it. I kind of always had hope that it would maybe get a bit more interesting because it was so inoffensive and it wasn't like, oh man, this is really shoving fan servicey crap in my face or doing a lot of this or doing a lot of that. It was just like, it's right here. It's right here. It's never doing this. It's never doing this. It's just staying right there in the middle. Will it fluctuate a little bit? Maybe. And I kept hoping that it would, but it didn't. So yeah, Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. Like I said, Crunchyroll. I'm also like 95% sure it's dubbed on Funimation. How many episodes so far? It's probably around 10 or 11. I feel like they're usually an episode or two behind. I feel like it really fluctuates with Funimation in terms of how close it is to the simulcast of just the subs. But yeah, that is Death March. Very inoffensive. It's something that If you have time to spare, you want to watch something new, you like isekai, check it out. It's not horrible. And even the voice acting never really bothered me or anything. Nothing stands out about it in either direction. I've beaten this point into the ground, but that really is Death March. It is just, ooh. And it's a weird thing to review because I don't have any strong feelings about it either way. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's a solid 5 out of 10. A solid thumb sideways. Anyway, that will do it for this here review. Click like, subscribe, whatever, if you want. You don't have to, but you can if you want. I'm going to be doing these reviews on a regular basis now, and next season I might do episodic reviews, which should be interesting. And and I will be doing those for sure for some series, maybe not all of them, but for some, and probably written too, because I want to do that just as a way to better remember some shows that I'm really into, because I'm terrible at remembering names. I don't know if you're like me, but even in real life with people I know and see on a regular basis, I'm just like, who are you again? I never say that to someone. That's incredibly rude to do. Anyway, that will do it. So go march somewhere. Don't die. Just have a regular march. No death march. Bye bye.